Fringe.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe, and welcome to a surprise, kind of off the cuff Thursday night stream. As we kind of just, I wanted to get something in before I leave for holidays and before the long weekend, since usually long weekends we don't do live streams on Sundays. Anyways, just kind of sit down with the community again, have a chat, kind of go over the crazy week that we've had. Especially on the channel, it's been nuts. First off, I'm going to give a minute for everybody to get into the room, and I want to welcome everybody in that's here. And a big thank you, if you're watching afterwards, to everybody who has... Sorry about that, folks. A little bit of interference while I set up here. Big shout out to everybody who's subscribed to the channel as of late. Man, we've gone up almost 1,000 subs in a week. It's been crazy. Huge gains on the channel, and we're just building our small fringe minority more and more here on the channel, and it's so great to have each of you here, especially when we do our live streams, to chit chat with everybody and get to know some new members. It's been nuts. Let's get into the chat and catch up with everybody right away. Susan jumping in. How are you, Susan? Welcome to the stream. Chippy, looks like you're in now. Welcome into the stream, buddy. How you doing? Harry's jumped into the stream. Harry, welcome in. Good to see you. Tammy's in here as always. Tammy, nice to see you as well. Welcome into the stream. Andrew has jumped into the stream. Andrew, is this first time view? I can't remember. I forgive me if I'm wrong. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the chat. Welcome into the stream. Nice machines. Thank you so much. In fact, speaking of machines, it's been a crazy week here with the arcade. If you've noticed behind me, my arcade is now complete for now. I got my last machine in here. I'm out of room, so unless I sell a machine, this is the way it's staying. My Star Wars machine came in on Monday evening, and I sat down and built it with my son. It was kind of fun. It was our first kind of build in a long time together, and it was really enjoyable to kind of take that last little lap around the track with him and get him using a drill again. And at 7 years old, let me tell you something. He built that entire cabinet, and all I did was hold the pieces for him. The kid's a wizard, and we had a lot of fun. And I still have yet to get on there and have a turn. So tonight I'm going to be pre-recording some content for you guys for next week while I'm gone. And as soon as I finish that, I'm hoping to get on there and enjoy those games. I really want to give Star Wars a shot. I haven't played Star Wars since probably my teen years back in the arcades, and it's been crazy. It's been crazy, but here we go. Harry asking, do you have Galaga? I wrapped it so many times. Galaga. So what I have. We usually don't talk arcades on the stream, but let's talk a little bit about it. In terms of original arcades, the only one that I have is my Donkey Kong Jr. behind me that I restored to factory day one condition. The rest of my machines, I do have these 3/4 scales, and I got about 15 in the house now. I think around there. That's just off the cuff. Some of them are multicades. Some play just about every game. So I do have Galaga. I just don't have a Galaga machine. My pinball machine here also plays vertical games. So similar to Donkey Kong Jr., where it's the instead of a regular square TV screen, the vertical up and downs like Galaga. So I can actually play Galaga on the 32-inch digital pinball screen, which is a lot of fun. It's different playing it in such a large format, but hey, it's a good time doing it. It's Nobber coming in. Nobber, I believe, again, this is the first time I've seen you in here. If I'm wrong, welcome into the stream. My apologies. Hey, Derek, hope all is well. Things just seem to be getting worse and worse. Almost out of options here myself. The stress is surreal. I'm sorry to hear that, but welcome into the stream. Make sure your outfit is different per day. You know what's funny? I sometimes get asked if I pre-record a lot of my content, because sometimes I'm wearing the same outfit when I make my videos. But what actually happens is I've got like a set of clothes for while I'm down here recording. And then I've got my usual outfits that I wear during the day and stuff with my kids. And usually by the end of the day, after making dinners and running around the house, I'm messy, I'm dirty. So I change into the clothes that I was wearing because all I did was wear them when I was making videos. I got to be a little more consistent on making sure I change into different outfits when making videos. But no, I do not pre-record all of my videos. unless again something has come up, in which case I have to pre-record some things. But it's been crazy. It's just been crazy, and we're going to get into those videos shortly here. Susan asking, have you seen Celtic Canucks new videos? Saskatchewan seems to have a good premiere. So I seen Celtic Canuck tweet about that today. Her videos are phenomenal. If you haven't checked out the Celtic Canuck yet, make sure you go over, let her know that the Fringe sent you by, and give her a like. Celtic Canuck actually did my mayoral announcement video, and she did a bang up job on it. Very grateful for all the work she put into that for me. And I can't say enough good things about her, but I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to try to get over there and check that out this evening. Everybody else, head over. Susan asking if I've seen it tells me it's another banger, so make sure to get over, give her some support. And it's Nober. Okay, well, there you go. I called it Nobber. That sounds like something you get on a bad date. What happened? I got a Nobber. Sorry for the mispronunciation, but welcome into the stream. This week's been nuts. Of course, a lot of content this week, more content than usual. I dropped a video, I believe on Monday, about Pierre Poilievre that caught a lot of attention, and good and bad. And I kind of wanted to go over that video because even though I made videos talking about what happened and what the transfer, it was a video that really caught me off guard. Probably one of my most controversial videos that I've made in my time on YouTube. Definitely my lowest rated video in my time on YouTube. And of course, anytime you question the almighty popular guy, I guess those things are going to happen. Now, I will say again that I am not salty, bitter, or upset with anybody's comments. I love reading the comments whenever I get a chance. Sometimes I'm a little late to reply, or I don't get a chance because, again, I'm running around with my kids or doing something. But I do read the comments when I get time, and I can appreciate anyone's point of view, whether positive, negative, outright nasty. Boy, there were some nasty ones in there. But I guess what I wanted to talk about tonight was the reason for that video. Now, Monday morning, Pierre drops this new video about axing the carbon tax. And in that video, he's speaking very quickly. He's interviewing a couple of truck drivers. And then he says in the video, we need to cut taxes and lower the carbon tax. Now, I usually am on Twitter or Twitter X or whatever they call it these days when I see those things. And I got on there about an hour after he dropped the video. And as soon as I started scrolling in the comments, I caught the lower the carbon tax line. And as soon as I started scrolling down in Pierre's comments, a lot of people were saying, are you lowering it or scrapping it? You know, the video is called Axe the Tax. Does axe mean that you're going to trim the carbon tax? Does it mean you're going to get rid of it? I thought you were getting rid of it. A lot of confusion. So I didn't really see anybody else jumping on it. But again, the video had only been out for an hour. I had some time to do a video, so I thought, hey, you know what? A little extra content doesn't harm the channel. I'll throw that video out. We'll try and get some context. Of course, you know, I do have a connection to Pierre's team. I do have a phone number and text periodically with his direct assistant. Again, when How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom launched, Preston Manning put me in contact with Pierre, and I was actually supposed to help him with a couple of his videos during his leadership campaign. We were going to use How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom and a few other things to kind of spice up his videos a little bit. And of course, during planning stages and things like that, I guess our schedules clashed and it just didn't work out. But I've stayed in contact. Of course, I have photos online. I was invited out to Ottawa last October, and I met with Pierre and I met with some members of the Conservative Party, and they were very friendly, showed me a good time, and I've stayed in contact. So of course, when I made that video, I reached out to Pierre's assistant and said, listen, you know, you might want to handle what's in this video because it looks like there's a lot of people confused. There's people asking questions. I've put out a video asking what is going on, and I intend to do a follow-up. These guys are really busy during the day. In fact, when Pierre's assistant got back to me, he didn't get back to me until the next day around midnight, just because, again, they're constantly on the move. I can't imagine how lengthy their work days are. But, you know, he did clarify it from me, again, direct from Pierre, that There was a slip, and it was that, they're axing getting rid of eliminating the carbon tax. That is the plan. Now, in that video, I made a statement that we got to give Pierre time, that may not all come at once. There's no switch that gets flicked, that instantly he becomes prime minister and the carbon tax is gone. Who knows what kind of landscape our financial situation is going to be in by that time. And hopefully he's in a position where he can outright just eliminate the tax. But even if he was to reduce it significantly, I mean, I would be happy. And again, nothing in that video was meant to say I was unhappy with any form of a reduction, because let's face it, folks, anything's better than what we're doing right now. But my concern was affordability for people and clarity. I mentioned in that video that, again, I think it's important, especially in these times, after 8 years of scandals and promises, we see them all the time with candidates that promise the moon and then never deliver. I think people are at the end of their ropes, and it's good to ask questions, especially, again, when I have that ability to reach out directly to his team and say, what is the deal here? What's going on? Now, there were a fair amount of comments that said, next time you should probably get the answer right away. You should check your sources before making the video. I didn't make that video to attack Pierre. That video was made to kind of bring it to everybody's attention that, hey, keep your eyes open, because things aren't looking so good right now. And, and when we find out, we'll let you know. It's more talking points, because while everybody's pulling for Pierre, and I don't know if it's for Pierre in general, but change, there's a lot of people who get butthurt about, oh, don't question Pierre, or shh, don't say anything because we don't want the liberals or the news media to have something to attack Pierre with. Well, here's my question, and I did mention it a few times in the comments. If we don't question him, if we just go, oh, we don't want to ask because, that might spell trouble, how are we any different than the people that handle Justin Trudeau scandals? How are we any better than those guys? Because we're not demanding answers before electing somebody. We're not, I know Ontario's had huge issues with Doug Ford because he took a similar approach when he was getting elected. He tried to relate to everybody. He tried to label himself the common man, and then apparently he pulled a 180 as soon as he got into office. So I think it's good to question people before giving them your vote and get clarity, because if you have clarity and they don't follow through, well, then you've got a lot to go after them for. You have a lot to question, and the right to question. If we didn't question his slip up, my thoughts are, well, perhaps if he does only lower the carbon tax, and there's a lot of voters who believe he was going to completely get rid of the carbon tax, he'd lose those votes because they didn't have clarity. I think clarity is very important. I think it's even if it goes against the person that you're pulling for. Now, I will say Pierre is not an unreasonable man. Anytime I've talked with him or his people, and they've been straightforward. They've given me answers. Again, they don't hide like Justin Trudeau. They're happy to answer questions, and I've got no reason to not assume that if they tell me something, I should take it at face value. So I'm grateful they got back to me. I'm grateful that they were able to answer the question, set the record straight. And, to the people who, I guess I could say, have a passionate attachment to Pierre Poilievre. Listen, I understand people are hurting right now. I understand people want change. I understand that people are scared. People are really scared right now. And I will get to the comments. I am seeing a lot about affordability and things like that. The world is very hard right now for people. And I understand that people are worried that the littlest thing could derail this election, if there were one. People are worried their lives aren't going to get any better. I understand how you're scared. But the only way we're ever going to get out of this problem is that no matter who is running, Who is asking for your votes, that we hold their feet to the fire and let them know that, listen, we want the right person for the job. And if you're not going to do that, we're not going to vote you in. These guys don't have a job without our votes. We have the ability to change our path. And I know a lot of people say, well, it all comes down to Ottawa and Quebec. I don't understand, or southeastern Ontario. I don't get why I should vote. My vote doesn't matter. It does. Every MP you vote in gives a seat. It gives power to that side of the fence, so to speak. Your votes do matter, and we have the ability to voice our concerns. I've always lived on the premise that if you don't vote, you don't have the right to bitch and complain. I don't think you have the right to be upset with the outcome of any election if you're not going to contribute. I mean, guys, what's voter turnout in Canada right now? Like 30%? That's crazy. People should be doing their due diligence and voting and getting their voice heard and fighting to make change. And I'm sorry I questioned Pierre, and if you don't like that I did that, I'm just going to say flat out, then maybe this isn't the channel for you, because I'm impartial when it comes to politics. I vote for my lifestyle and whoever I believe is going to make it the most livable. And if I have to question the popular guy and get an answer, I don't see the harm in that, because if they gave me the wrong answer, then I'd have to find somewhere else to put my vote. And that's the whole purpose of voting. That's how the system works. If you're always going to vote one side, no matter what they do, well, then we're just going to be in the same situation we're currently in with Justin Trudeau. I've said it before on stream. I remember my niece telling me, I voted for Justin Trudeau in 2015 because I thought he was hot. That's not a reason to vote for somebody. That's not anything. I know people who voted for Justin Trudeau in the last election and said, well, I couldn't vote for Aaron O'Toole. That's not a reason to give another vote to the Liberals. That's not, like, what you have to do is think about your lifestyle and think about where you want it to go. Anyways, I don't ever want to sound like I'm trying to influence people where to vote. All my point is, and I do ramble. I get it. A lot of people yell at me for rambling in the comments all the time. The point is, use your votes wisely, and question everyone. Clyde Do Something, a good friend of mine, had some advice once where he said, you should have memberships to every party in Canada. You should have a Liberal membership. You should have an NDP membership. You should have a Conservative membership, a PPC membership if you want to. And you should vote for the representatives in all of those parties, because then you're in control of what's going on in your country. It's no cost. Sometimes I think it's like a $5 or $10 charge to get a membership, but for the power that you have to decide who's going to run in what ridings and who's getting the nominations and who they're trying to push to the top, it gives you an inside view of how parties are working. And it's not about red versus blue. It's you got to have a clear understanding of your politics. So I think it's good advice. And I know I've got multiple memberships to multiple parties ever since getting that advice. And I think it's good advice. And yeah, when it comes to Pierre, I'm just glad they cleared the air, and I'm glad it was positive. I'm glad it was a positive spin. And hopefully we don't see anything more like that again. Forgive my rambling. Let's get caught up in the chat here, folks. Let's get caught up in the chat. Chippy's just subbed to Celtic. Good job. You're going to love the channel. Andrew asking, do you think Trudeau had reenacting the Emergency Act in response to suspicious fires across Canada? No, because he was probably involved in having them set. What you have to understand about these fires, and people, they always want to talk about conspiracy theorists. A lot of it's arson. I know in Alberta, they've caught 30 some odd fires or 70 something this year that have been arson related. Guys, the problem here is that these groups of people that get government kickbacks, I call them eco-terrorists, they want to be heard. So they start all these fires on purpose. so that they can blame climate change and get people to take them serious. Sorry guys, I'm weeding through the comments so I'm not double backing on things we were talking about. The only thing other than this was signing up for a new conservative donation card, and they said it would take 6 to 10 weeks. Made me question timelines considering I have cross-country mail. Now, here's something Nober says is that $200 in groceries is nothing anymore. Now, keep that in your minds because this week I do have, well, I guess this next week coming up, I do have a video talking about groceries in the state of Canada and what people can afford. And no, $200 doesn't do anything. I'll be honest. Like, so in this household, I go to multiple stores to shop for groceries. I usually go weekly. I don't know how people usually do their groceries. We do it weekly because, bread tends to go bad. Milk goes bad about every 10 days or so. And my kids drink it like it's water. But usually what I'll do is for a family of 5, I'll head over to Costco and pick up what I can for meals. We typically do the same 3 to 4 meals a week and then try to do something change up so we're not getting sick of that stuff in between. So I'll buy things like our chicken at Costco, beef at Costco, and freeze it. I was always one that preferred fresh over frozen, but hey, in these times, I don't know about other parts. Now, keep in mind, what I'm talking about is Calgary's prices. So I don't know what they are in comparison to other parts of Canada, but I'll pick up a big thing of meat at Costco for $20, $30, and it'll last us portioning it out at £1 per bag. I don't know, 4 to 5 weeks. I'll just say a month for a good measure. So anything I can freeze, I buy at Costco, and then I'll go to Walmarts and things like that. And then our weekly Walmart shopping trips are usually, drinks, lunch stuff for my kids, and snacks. That's about it. And then breads and milks and that kind of stuff. We usually average, now Costco's usually a $200 to $300 trip every month. And then Walmart will average $100 to $150 a week. So in this house, for again 3 kids, 2 adults, we average, I'd say somewhere around $700-800 a month for groceries. And keep in mind that $700-800 a month is us really squeezing. We make things for the kids like craft dinner. We make burgers. We'll make chicken strips, things that can typically last longer when you buy it in bulk. Some nights we'll do taco salads or we'll do, fun things that we can switch it up. But we get away with that $800 a month by literally pinching every corner we can. I honestly look at what we do. I seen a guy coming out of Walmart today. I had to go pick up some medication for my wife, and I seen a guy coming out with a cart full of their blue cloth bags. It looked like about $1,000 worth of groceries. And I stuttered to think, I don't know what that guy goes through in a week. I don't know what kind of family he's feeding or what he must go through every time he goes through that till. But this isn't a way to live. This isn't any way for Canada to live. Some of the stuff I've got to talk about in this video this week, it's really disheartening. It's hard to watch. And what really sucks is that people like Justin Trudeau just don't give a damn. Jagmeet Singh, or Jugmeet, I guess, if I'm pronouncing it right, he wants to blame the grocery stores and the retailers and say, oh, they're just taking profits. They are taking profits. But it's because of things like the carbon tax. They have the ability to take those profits. They have an operating cost too, while taking those profits. So I'm not going to sit and say it's all the retailer. A lot of it's the retailer. I often question that if the carbon tax is axed, as in removed, what are we going to see at retailers in terms of price cuts? Are they going to cut significantly? Because I'll tell you one thing, they've had no issues raising it significantly every time the carbon tax has been increased. I can tell you, even at Costco, we'll buy like a 32 pack of Diet Pepsi. And that 32 pack of cans will last probably about 6 weeks in this house. But those used to be $8.99 to $9.99 a year and a half ago at Costco for 32 cans. It's now $17.99 when I go into my regular Costco. Toilet paper went from $18 to $24. Paper towels have gone from $15.99 to $22.99. Steak. Now, steak is a luxury item as far as I'm concerned. But I used to be able to go into Costco and buy a 4-pack of New York strips for $35. Now you're lucky if you can get away with less than 80. And what really gets me with that stuff, and a lot of this we do talk about in the video, but these are perishable items. Meat goes bad so fast. Vegetables go bad fast. Fruit go bad fast. So why are they charging top dollar for that stuff? You would think if grocery stores, especially when you go through Loblaws, No Frills, Superstore, whatever you have in your area, anything owned by the Westons, you see these 30% off tags all the time for almost rotten food. Oh, this hamburger meat, if you take it home today, it's 30% off and it's turning brown in some spots. Now, turning brown doesn't mean it's the end of that meat. That happens, but it's not fresh by any standard. I wouldn't want to buy it. But what I can tell you is if they're able to cut off that 30%, why aren't they doing that right off the bat and selling more product? That's always been my question. If you can afford to clear it out at 30% or throw it in the trash, why aren't you just docking that 30% right away and helping people afford things? Especially on perishables. I don't know what it's like to be a grocer, so I could be way off base. But if I was like an independent grocer, like not one of the Westons, if I didn't own a Sobeys or Safeway or whatever, I'd be scared shitless every time I would see produce or meat come through the door or breads, because I'd be thinking that's going to go bad real fast. I got to get that out of here, or I'm losing money. And that I just never understand. Oh, don't tell me we're going to get into the aspartame thing with drinks again. Info on aspartame. So I'm going to explain something. I've talked to my doctor about this a million times over. I always find this argument so hilarious because I asked my doctor about this because I don't drink coffee. I don't drink caffeine regularly. I just don't enjoy the taste of coffee. I really don't. We've talked about this about a month ago because I got crapped on for saying that I drank diet drinks. I've never talked about very often how often I have one. So I have this, what is this? A 500 ml bottle of Diet Mountain Dew that I bought when I was in the US. It's Thursday today? I haven't had one of these since Sunday. This is my first one since Sunday. I don't drink them that often. And I asked my doctor about aspartame. And my doctor laughed and said, there's no definitive study on aspartame. He says there's plenty of studies on it. There's no definitive study on aspartame that if you consume it, it's going to harm you any more than anything else that you consume. He says if you drink coffee regularly, you can have issues later in life for your heart through coffee. You can have issues through just about everything. There's a cool book that my brother-in-law got me one year called Everything Kills You. And my doctor was talking about the aspartame, and he says, in order to have a problem from just aspartame, he says you'd probably have to drink about 75 bottles of Mountain Dew a day for excess of about 7 or 8 months. He said the high levels of aspartame you would have to ingest in order to give yourself a remote problem is unfathomable and almost improbable. Now, he says there are people out there that drink 7, 8, 10 bottles or cans of diet soda a day. He says, now as time goes on, those people may have issues, but he says it'd be the same from anybody who drinks alcohol multiple times a week, or anybody who drinks soft drinks multiple times a day. Unless you're drinking water, at which point these days I question what they're pumping into water, you're going to have a problem no matter what. I find it such a weak argument, and it's so silly. Look, guys, you get one spin on this earth, live, enjoy it. Do what you want. I try to stay away from sodas because it really feels like I'm drinking like candy or something. But honestly, like years ago, I went on keto, and I was big into soft drinks. I was really big into soft drinks, and I got onto these diet drinks because they were 0 calorie, right? Keto is all about no carbs, no calories. So, well, no calories when it comes to anything with sodium or anything like that. I should have said sodium, but regardless, I drank the diet drinks because it was easier to get through keto. But what I found after keto is that, again, the once or twice a month I would go and have a Pepsi or a Mountain Dew. They have this terrible aftertaste now because I got used to the diet drinks. Like if I drink regular Mountain Dew, it tastes like I'm drinking somebody's batteries or something. Like I just can't. So I've had to stick to this. And again, I don't do it very often. Not that it matters. I don't have to defend it to anybody. I'm just explaining that I don't do it that often. This is more like an enjoyment thing for me when I'm kicking back and kicking back with you guys here on the live stream. So, I mean, guys, like I say, live your life. There's people out there that vape, and I could argue about their vaping. There's people who smoke or who drink or who eat too much red meat, who do a lot of different things that is harmful. We'll move on. Anyways, it's let's get into some more chat. I'm getting so derailed tonight. I gotta admit, I usually have a lot of material built up for a Sunday because a lot's happened in the week. And aside from the Pierre thing this week, guys, I wanted to get this stream in. So I'm getting easily derailed tonight because I've only had a few days since our last one to build up what we're going to chat about. They've been taxing us to poison us with fluoride years. Apparently no amount of fluoride is safe too. I've heard about that. Working grocery retail, you're supposed to reduce perishables 3 days before expiry and are not supposed to sell on the due date for obvious reasons. Yeah, but again, Sapphire, and welcome into the stream. The reason I question retailers is because, again, if Loblaws is getting, I know they get more or less. I'm just going to say if they're getting $2,000 worth of meat brought in every few days to their store, and that meat isn't selling, why wouldn't you just do a reduction and take a little less profit? Because you can obviously afford to sell it at 30% off. So what I don't understand is why the stores aren't waking up and saying, if we just take the 30% off right off the bat, more people are going to buy this stuff and we're not going to have to reduce it at all. Because I'll tell you right now, if I went to a Safeway or IGA, whatever, I don't care, Tom's grocery store, and steaks were $70 for 4 steaks like I find at Costco now, and I went into a Loblaws and those same steaks were $42, I'd be more inclined to buy them because I'd be going, holy Christ, this is way cheaper than anywhere else. I'm going to jump on that. You'd see stuff go off the shelves. You'd see people. There's a truck that comes in our neighborhood from BC. They're currently selling like Tabor corn, and they bring in all these fresh fruits from BC, like cherries, pickled carrots, all these different things. But they sell it for a fraction of what the grocery stores are selling that stuff for, and it's quality. My son goes there and picks out peaches, oranges, apples, all these fruits that they're bringing in from BC, and I'm not sure what these guys are paying. They come with a refrigerated truck every week from Thursday to Sunday, and that's where we pick up our fruits. And my wife always goes, God, we bought like $30 worth of fruit. And I say, yeah, but look how much we got. Like our kids can literally snack on cherries, pineapple, oranges, all these good things for them all week long. And $30 in comparison to what you'd get at a grocery store is nothing. If it means my kids are healthy, I'm happy to spend the $30. It's a shame though that they only do it during the summer months, like I think they come in from May till sometime shortly after this long weekend, and then they're done. But I like supporting local. I try to support local where I can. But these guys, man, their quality is just off the chain. My wife, throughout the summer, she'll usually find people that are selling BC cherries, and she'll pick them up wherever we're at, if it's a farmer's market or anything like that. But she says she's never had anything like these guys. So I don't know if they're putting cocaine in there or what they're doing, but damn, good stuff. And I'd recommend for anybody to support local. I think local is the best way to go, even if it costs a little more, especially in these times. Like I find, in Calgary, we have our local co-op, and co-op, which is a grocery store if you're out east or anywhere else. I don't know where they're situated. So, because I know when I moved here from Winnipeg, we didn't have co-op at the time. I know they're moving out there that way now. Anyway, co-op is typically a more expensive grocery store to go to because it's more localized, and I don't know what their margins are like, but if I go there versus like a Walmart or versus like a Loblaws, it's much more expensive. It's about 30% to 40% more. And sometimes I do go there for barbecuing or something because, again, I find we get quality. If Costco doesn't have something on sale, Costco's always got quality when it comes to their Kirkland stuff. I find they're very picky about what they bring in, but I find that even with the prices at our local Walmart now, a lot of them, unless you're buying boxed stuff, which you can buy at any grocery store. Like if I buy Bear Paw cookies for my kids, I can buy them at Costco. I can buy them at the co-op. I can buy them at Walmart. It doesn't matter. So I buy them wherever they're the cheapest. It's the same product. But when I'm looking at things that are comparable to other stores that you need to shop for better quality on, it's very similar in pricing that I can afford to spend a little bit more to go shop local and buy from a local vendor at this point, because the deals just aren't there anymore. So I look at it actually as a nice thing now and say, if I'm going to pay an arm and a leg, I'd rather give it to Joe Public, who's supporting his family with a brick and mortar, than a corporation that's taking profits. It's rough out there for anybody who owns a business right now. In fact, with our new book launching this month, I've been talking to some of my social media friends about interviews, about where to advertise, about things like that, and I've been asking them about rates, because a lot of my friends who are on YouTube, they know a lot about advertising and they know what the costs are of advertising and things. And I'll tell you, it's scary, because my question now is, if we're going to put out a product in a couple weeks and people are having a tough time, are we going to be able to sell copies? Are we going to be able to sell our product to the point where we're spending money on advertising that people are going to want what we have, but if nobody's spending, we're throwing money out the window. So it's a tough game in retail right now, and it's going to be interesting to see where things go with this new book. I'm excited to bring it out. For anybody who isn't aware, let's pull it up. Sorry guys, I'm going to get it on my other monitor here. Give me 1 second. Our new book is going to launch mid-September, and it's going to get out of politics. We're trying to get out of politics. I wanted to get out of the strictly Canadian market. We have talked about it on stream before. The Young Kid's Guide to Grooming is going to be hitting Amazon mid-September. I'm looking forward to bringing this one out for you guys. We have a lot of jokes in this one, and a lot of shots being fired at, well, I'm sure you can guess who we're firing the shots at in this book. I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. My close friends that I usually give them a copy pre-production before we even have color on the pages, and I usually turn to them and say, what do you think? Should I make some changes? Everything looking good? And they've all come back and said that they think this is our best one to date, which says a lot. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good little book for everybody to pick up. Definitely going to be interesting to see how it does, because again, we're getting out of politics. Not wholly. I am moving back into the political realm for our next book after this that we're going to get into production right away. We're kind of like the MCU over here, where we pre-plan our projects and we pre-plan what we're going to get into down the road. We have a roadmap. So the next book that we're doing is going to get back into the political realm, and it's going to be fun. I can't wait to bring this one out anyways, and for you guys to take a look at it. Also, one thing we've been doing, and again, guys, please don't take this as a grift. It's more for anybody who watches our videos but doesn't see our links or what's going on this week in our merch shop. What is it? Jeremy McKenzie and the Plaid Army calls theirs the grift shop. We have these new shirts out. Of course, we've got this new one with the COVID-19. Let me see if I can get a bigger shot of that. There's the pattern there. COVID-19, good old Trudeau, Biden, and Klaus on there. Do not comply. We've got those shirts now in stock and ready to go. We also have this one here with good old Captain Blackface. You cannot comply your way out of tyranny. If believing in freedom burns a bridge, I've got matches. We've also got our conspiracy theorist shirts that I've had on the stream before. They're doing really well, and just a big thank you to everybody who's already picked up their merch. It does support the channel. It does support us as a company and being able to bring you guys more stuff. Everything that we make off of that goes back into the channel, and also towards charitable donations at the end of the year. Everything I make from books is what I use as income. Everything I do YouTube and YouTube related always goes to the other side of the fence, so that you guys benefit if I'm putting stuff into the channel, but other people benefit when we donate to charity. So if you like the gear, hit the link down below. We have it in all of our video descriptions. There is a link or a button for the shop on our YouTube page. And again, just a big thank you to everybody who's already picked up stuff and supports the channel. Again, it's never mandatory. It's just always appreciated. And I thank everybody who's joined us this week. Everybody who's joined our channel, man, what a week. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, we've shot up almost 1,000 subs in a week. The numbers have just been crazy. Now, I did mention on the last stream to forgive the clickbaity titles, because YouTube is a weird beast. YouTube is very strange with how they do things. I actually replied to somebody's comment yesterday that said, you guys have these, you YouTubers have these clickbaity titles and the thumbnails that draw everybody in. And I try to talk about the things that are in my titles and in the thumbnails. However, you almost have to do them that way these days with YouTube because of the way their algorithm works. It's very difficult to be discovered by people that haven't heard of your channel unless you follow the typical formula that YouTube has in place for their algorithm. And unless you're going to jump on the train with what everybody else does, you're kind of buried to the back. And your regular viewers watch you. I'm learning a lot about the algorithm because for the longest time, videos on this channel reached about 300 to 600 people on average. And then suddenly, as soon as we changed the thumbnails, changed the titles a little bit, we got more into the algorithm, and I noticed that the channel kind of exploded. So unfortunately, I'll have to stick to those things. But just know, folks, if you ever join me on these streams, and I'm sure it's not the last time I'll say it, those titles, those thumbnails are just part of the YouTube process. I'll try to continue to deliver you guys quality content. I certainly won't ever say that I'm going to mention something in a title and then not talk about it at all. I don't believe in clickbait. I don't like the idea of clickbait. I think it's a gotcha on people that watch your content, because your time is just as valuable as my time. And I try to do my videos in the way that they're videos that I would want to watch. And I try not to waste anybody's time as much as I can anyways. So yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing you guys some content next week. Also, next week's content, try and understand they are pre-recorded. So if they're a little late to the party in terms of talking about a subject or anything else, it's tough to know what to report on or what people are going to find helpful or worthy of watching, again, when you're not doing breaking news. So bear with me there, folks. Again, once I'm back from California next Friday, the following Monday we'll have, or I guess the following Sunday, so the 10th of September, we'll have our live stream, and then we'll have content as usual on the channel back up to speed. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the time off with my kids. We're getting down to the wire, doing laundry today and getting things ready to go. And I'm excited. I'm excited to take my kids just on a plane and let them forget for a couple of days. And I'll tell you, they were real eager when they started school this morning after their summer break to get a few days of school in before hitting the airport, which, I mean, it's going to be such a nasty flight because we leave at 6:30 in the morning on Sunday. And which means we got to be at the airport for 4 a.m. when security opens. It's going to be crazy. Not looking forward. What's Nober saying? Unfortunately, Clyde has gotten like that, and the face shots are cringe. The afternoon vids seem to get less views. I think it's because everyone hears about it first. Love his stuff, but I've been hearing the news sooner than some. You know what? I'll pass that on. Clyde's a great producer. He's a great producer of content. I love Clyde's channel. And I'm not saying that just as his friend. Clyde inspired me to get into YouTube. And I think that everybody's just trying to find their footing right now with the way that news laws have changed in Canada and C-19 and all these different things. Bear with them. The content's good, and Clyde's got a good eye for things. And I don't know. I still enjoy the content. I like the afternoon drops because, again, like, Clyde puts out videos for Canada wide. And when he's throwing those in the afternoon, that's getting into the evening for a lot of people out east in Canada. So it's a good way for them to unwind. And again, this is experimental. I can't comment on Clyde's reasons for those things, but he's a smart guy, and I trust his judgment on things. So hopefully things stay good in his channel. Harry, clickbait is satanic. I agree. Unfortunately, setting it up in that style is what you need to do if you want to grow on YouTube, and it really sucks. They were all asked the government inquiry about gouging Canadians. Yes. If YouTuber is doing a vid, usually it's 24 hours old. It's already out. Yeah, it's tough, Rick, and welcome into the stream. It's really hard. And that was, what's funny is that was most of the flack I got on that Pierre Poilievre video on Monday was, I'd seen all the comments of people saying, I want clarification on what you mean by reduce the carbon tax versus axe the carbon tax. So I put out a video saying Pierre slipped up, and instantly people were shitting all over my head saying, you're attacking Pierre. This is developing. I'm not attacking anybody. I'm trying to jump on it as quick as I can. Well, nobody else is talking about it. That's because it happened an hour ago. Like, I'm trying to, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't on YouTube. It's crazy how things work sometimes. Usually it's a first impression. Yeah, I get that. Harry, I appreciate that. Thank you for bearing with us. Bought your book, The Prime Minister is Still Freedom. My kid loved it. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Nober. I appreciate that as well. Kyle coming in. I loved Kyle, Clyde's channel too. There's nothing not to love about Clyde. He's a fantastic guy. Good friend. And I wish him well. I really hope he does well. Continues to do well with his channel. It's I don't mind later material and can't hate the guy for working his day job. Well, that's part of it. Clyde, I'm going to tell you, he's one of the hardest working guys that I know. This is turning into a Clyde stream. I was almost going to invite Clyde on tonight, but I didn't know how busy he'd be. But Clyde gets up at the crack of dawn, does his videos, goes to work, comes home, does more videos. He's constantly working. I think he only spends about a day and a half each week with his family in terms of off time. The guy's always working. I got nothing but respect for the guy. He works his ass off to make sure that everybody's got content, but also that he's happy with what he's doing. And I'll tell you, again, he inspired me to get into YouTube. He inspires me to always want to do better, because that's his formula with things, is that there's always a better way to do something. There's always a way to improve. And Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Clyde. I hope if people are frustrated, I hope people hang in there. Again, things are changing on YouTube, and it's tough to know which avenues to explore and how to do it. So sometimes channels go through some phases. But again, I don't see anything wrong with what Clyde's doing, and I think he's doing a great job. And we'll just see what comes down the pipe, I guess. Kyle saying you and Clyde are both getting better. Well, I appreciate that. I know I'm doing better than Clyde because it's me, but I'm joking. There's my narcissistic attitude jumping in. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, Clyde, again, Clyde's helped me a lot with YouTube, and I'm grateful for all of his help, all of his advice, and the time that he gives me. It's great. Clyde is getting better. Yeah, I agree. Who is Clyde? Come on, Harry. Come on. That's a no. I don't want to make kids ask questions or scare anybody off. So no, we're gonna Eat Me coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Love Clyde, but guys, let it slide. Tonight it's Derek's time. That's right. God damn it, it's my time. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate that. Thank you, Clyde. Clyde has a small piano in the background. You have arcade games. You win. Oh, I don't know about that. Have you guys ever seen Clyde play piano? The guy's actually really good, and he doesn't have any training. And he's one of those play by ear guys. He picks up audio cues, I guess you could say. He's very good, actually. The first time I went over to Clyde's house, which was about a year ago, I went into Squamish to thank him for helping How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom go viral. And I went there to meet his family. We went out for dinner. And he entertained us with his piano playing skills. And I'll tell you, I was convinced he had training of some kind. And then he says, no, I've never had a lesson. I just kind of mess around and tool around with it. Dude's got some talent. That's what I'm saying. He's a very talented guy. Props to Clyde. He's something else. I once saw Clyde beat up 5 people by himself. I once saw Clyde get all the knowledge of a book just by staring at it. That's I guess we're going to turn Clyde into the next Chuck Norris. Any idea where a person can find out if their city town is having the Million Man March on September 20th? You know what, Don, and welcome into the stream. That's a good question. I would follow the hashtag. I think it's just one, like the number 1 Million Man March, I think. There may be information. I've been looking for it myself. Again, with our book launching so close to that march, I felt that it was something I could really try to work in and do in line with it. Since both of them are about kids and looking after kids and protecting kids. I can't find anything on it. Check Twitter. Search the term, see what you can find. I'm sorry I couldn't be any more help than that. It's I believe it's local. It's just Canada wide. It's kind of like those one of those hands across the nation type of things. Again, I could be wrong because again, I haven't found a ton of information on it. One thing I will mention about the young kids guide to grooming when we launch mid-month, I'll be taking a portion of proceeds from every sale. I've mentioned this before. We're going to be giving it to the child. It's 3 C's and I always mix it up and I hate it because I wanted or Child Advocacy Center of Calgary. There it is. It's going to help abused children, go towards programs to help abused children. I've said multiple times over that we write satire at Unacceptable Fringe Books. And between my illustrator and I, we put a lot of jokes in our books. We try to poke fun at things. But once again, I'll say there is nothing funny about what is happening to our kids and what's going on with kids in the world right now. And I think that if the book does well, we should be giving back. And of course, we usually try to do something charitable with every book. But I'm definitely going to be plugging as much as I can into this child advocacy center in Calgary for abused kids. Theo Fleury recommended this organization. It's one that he works very close with. And for that reason, I wanted to jump on board as well. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting them a very large check to hand their way to make some kids' lives better. So we'll have to see. We'll see how things go. Harry's saying Child Advocacy of Calgary. I know they changed their name on Twitter. I can't remember if it was called like I was gonna say like almost I thought for some reason it was like relatable to a unicorn or something or a prism or something. But I know, yeah, Child Advocacy of Calgary. I can't remember their actual new name, but they did come recommended by Theo, and I can't wait to try and help them out. Youth Advocate, that's a great cause. You should make a donation page for your next book, $100 or more or something. Get your name on the credits. You know what? That'd be a good idea. I find that the reason we put those things through is like the reason that we donate is because, again, it's trying times in the economy right now, and people are having a hard go. I've often said, people always say to me, how can I support the channel? That's why I bring up things like the merch, and I say it's not a grift. If you ever want to support the channel, get something for yourself, and I'll make a little bit off the back end, and that's fine, and that goes back into the channel. But it's the same thing with these books. If people want to buy a book and get something for themselves, I'm very happy to donate out of my pocket for other people. But if you feel that you want to donate to an advocacy center for children or things like that, I would just encourage, get involved, do something, help the kids. I never want people to think that I'm trying to get a larger tax write-off by donating on their behalf to an organization. So it's a good idea, Nober, and I certainly won't shoot it down. Maybe it's something we could consider with our future projects, but I just feel, especially in these trying times with the economy, any support is, welcome support. And I just don't want to make people feel like we need more all the time. Everything you guys do is fantastic. It's good enough. And, yeah, unicorn is questionable. I know it was something, it's not unicorn, but it sounded something like that. I'm just trying to think of what it was. And I apologize to Child Advocacy of Calgary. I'll have to look it up for the next time. I just know that's their Twitter. I don't know if they've changed the company to that altogether, but Putin has banned gender change in July. Well, I mean, that's one good thing from Russia, I guess. The kids in the system get it the worst. Look at the 15th Ave shelter for kids in Calgary. It's a dump. You know what? I've heard about it. I haven't been there. I definitely want to get involved in that place when before the mayoral run starts. Kids are my number one concern running on the Calgary platform. We've got multiple problems in this city. A lot of them with crime, a lot of them with people being vulnerable. But the biggest problem that I have, the one thing that pushed me to run for mayor in this town, was failed Mayor Jody Gondek's push to block people from protesting drag time story hour. And to fine people for having an opinion, to use a no protest bylaw that was, by the way, an emergency measure during COVID, that the city said this is temporary. We'll pull it back as soon as COVID goes away. Nope. They turned it into a bylaw that said, hey, because the mayor's child is non-binary, she's offended. So if you protest something she doesn't agree with, we're going to fine you up to $10,000. You're not allowed within 100 meters of those buildings to speak your mind. Because again, it affects the mayor directly, which shouldn't be brought into work. But one of the biggest things that I don't like is that she's opened up a new bylaw that says city-run properties. Now, the majority of pools in our city are city-owned. Fitness centers, things like that. Anything city-run, if somebody comes in and says they identify as a female, for example, and they're not, they can just walk into a women's change room and watch children undress. They can put women at risk that are vulnerable. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with putting people at risk. I don't agree with our children having to see things that they shouldn't be seeing. I kind of feel like in the last decade, the requests from certain groups have become so out of left field and more bizarre that I'm prepared to propose solutions to those who identify a certain way. If they want to live in delusion, if they want to not treat a mental illness, that's up to them. I will try to accommodate, but I will not allow them near children. I will not allow them around the vulnerable. And I find that when people get upset about any request to adhere to, again, making things more comfortable for people, if someone's going to get upset, it's usually because what they want is access. They're not in it for the right reasons. If I were somebody dealing with a problem and somebody offered me a form of a solution, I'd probably be grateful rather than put my hands up in the air if it didn't suit my needs to a T. And that's the biggest problem I have, is that the majority of the people who get mad, who say, "Oh, you're phobic, you're biased against people who have transition issues." No, I just don't want little kids having to see men's genitals, or women to be assaulted. That hits home for me. Too much has come out of that to be negative in multiple parts of the world that I simply will not stand for that. I don't want it in schools. I don't think schools have the right to push that onto children. Anything about identity. At the end of the day, I believe that these kids, if they have questions about their sexuality and they're old enough, or if they feel a certain way, they should talk to their parents, not a teacher, not somebody who's designated to tell them how to feel. I feel we'd have a lot less problems if it was just left to the parents. There are kids who come from households who feel like they're threatened and they can't talk to their parents. And for those kids, my heart goes out to them. I had a friend in high school who was gay, and he didn't think he could tell his family because they wouldn't understand. Now, again, this was in the 90s. I always encouraged him, you should find a way to talk to your parents or talk to somebody you trust, not a teacher, not somebody who's paid $50,000 a year to sit and teach you basic arithmetic or writing skills. Those people are not the people you confide in for those things. I would suggest a therapist or a counselor, or again, finding some way to talk to your family. But kids shouldn't be approached by anybody talking to them about their genders, their kinks, their identity, their, oh, yikes. It's a scary game. It's a scary game, but it's one that I'm basically fighting to put Calgary back to the way it was. I want this city to focus on its people. I want taxes to come down significantly. Because in this town, our taxes go up roughly 4% every year, like clockwork for homeowners, which also gets passed on to renters. When landlords have those issues, I want rent control in this town. I think rent control is necessary. New York has rent control, and things have gotten out of hand there, and they've had rent control for decades. I think Calgary needs rent control in order to put landlords in their proper place in terms of what they charge versus profit they're making on their rentals, so that people can afford to rent. I want to bring down property taxes because, again, my philosophy has always been that on a scale of 1 to 10, we're charging people an 11 and giving them a 3. I don't believe in the way we're taxing people because the money is often wasted on studies and unnecessary studies and art projects and resources that we don't need at the time. I mean, you look at Calgary being in the news for all the crime that's on their light rail transit system right now. My wife rides the train every morning to work, and I've often told her, take the car, even if it's more to pay for parking downtown, we'll figure it out, or drive it to a train station where you only have to go 1 or 2 stops. She says there's always somebody there being questioned by the police, or she hears about somebody getting stabbed. She said last week going to work, she had to step over a blood puddle downtown because obviously something went down there, whether somebody got stabbed or somebody threw it up or whatever. The country, thanks to Justin Trudeau, And mayors like Jody Gondek, who do absolutely nothing to benefit the city or fix it up, are letting this country turn into a third world shithole. And it's a big problem. My remarks for somebody like Jody Gondek is, if you don't want to do the job, then pack your bags and get out. Being a mayor is not an entitlement, and it's not a status symbol. You've been given a mandate by the voters of your city or town to keep things running and make decisions that benefit everybody, not just you yourself. Your job isn't to be there to line your pockets. I've always believed in the term public servant. I know people use different terms now, but there's 1.6 million people in Calgary. And if I was given the job to run for mayor, even if I only got 40% of the vote that got me into that office, I'm telling you right now, I would have 1.6 million bosses in this city that I got to make sure are as happy as I can make them. And you're not always going to do everything that's going to please everybody. You're not always going to be able to have everybody agree with you. But I would definitely try to do what I thought made the most sense to benefit the people of this city. But my number one priority is to keep kids safe. It's, are you transgender? Yeah, I identify as a lesbian. I'm king of the lesbians. I'm a black lesbian, in fact, just so that nobody can say I'm being racist. I have a friend who is actually transgender, identifies as transgender, who has openly admitted to me it's a dysphoria and it's an illness, and that rather than completely identify the way they want to try to sort out their issues. This transgender friend of mine thinks it's appalling what is being done to kids. They believe that no one should be taking any forms of hormone therapy or puberty blockers or anything to that nature, which I find really funny because this person is like the most non-transgender person who is transgender. But they live a lifestyle a certain way. This man dresses like a female, looks very convincing as a female. In fact, I saw photos of them as a female once and said, "Who's the hot chick?" Because I didn't know it was him. But he believes that what's going on right now in the world is nuts. And I'm very appreciative that they're willing to be so transparent about that. I've often said that anybody who's dealing with those things, I feel bad for them. Anybody who deals with schizophrenia, I feel bad for them. And hope that they get the help they need to get their perception of their lives on track. But when you see people paying for surgeries to turn themselves into dogs, I think that was a news story about a month ago, a guy who paid $100,000 to look like a golden retriever or something. Like, this is the time where we have to start saying, guys, this is getting a little out of hand. It's getting a little crazy. I have gay family members. I believe in, I was once asked, where do you stand on gay marriage? And I've said it before on stream. I think everybody has the right to get married, and gay people have every right to get married and be as miserable as the rest of us. If they want to be able to get married, they should have to experience divorce. Let them experience that and then ask them if they want to get married. I'm a father of 3. I've been married 17 years as of next week. And I find that people should be allowed to live their best lives so long as you're not harming anybody. I don't care if you're gay, straight, bi, transgender, whatever. But when I go out my door, what you identify as is none of my business. And you're free to think that you're whatever you want to be, but just realize that the length that I'm going to participate in those things is not probably what you're expecting. I'll be courteous, I'll be respectful, but I just don't jump on board that train. Much like I don't jump on board the train when my nephew used to tell me he was Indiana Jones. My nephew went through a phase where he used to dress in the jacket, the hat, go to school, and you had to call him Indiana. He wouldn't go by his name. And for a while, the parents thought it was cute they played along, and as he got older, it got a little worse to the point where they had to say, hey, listen, there's a time to play and there's a time to be serious. And they actually got concerned about his mental health and had to do something about it. This has been diagnosed as a mental disorder. I hate to break it to people. Ben Shapiro says it best: facts don't care about feelings. And there's two genders. There's man, there's woman. That's it. And anybody who wants to say otherwise, you're free to think what you want, but so am I. And that's where I stand. That's the dog thing is a realistic costume that he had made. Yeah, it's crazy. Done. I'm all for gay marriage as well. Yeah, they should have to suffer too. There you go. There you go. Harry is a fellow black lesbian as well. Harry, great. I'm glad we can add more. We can add more to our kind. Yes, I should clarify. I'm a male lesbian. I am decreeing myself. I identify as king of the lesbians. In fact, king of the male lesbians. So, I mean, look, we've seen it in women's sports with transgender men. They can outperform everyone. So men obviously do it better. So I am the king of the lesbians. Only a joke, folks. In fact, I've always said that I identify as transfinancial, meaning that I identify as a billionaire. So if the government really is concerned about how people identify, they can start by giving me $1 billion and keeping my bank account full, because that's how I identify. And I hope they're not phobic. Anybody who's suffering right now in this economy should identify as transfinancial. Go to your local bank, ask for $1 million to be put in your bank account. And if the bank denies you, feel free to call them phobic, sue them for misrepresenting your gender. And that's honestly where I stand on the whole thing, is that I've said 1 million times over, maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need a bunch of people making a big deal out of things and making it so silly that eventually society says, we can't do this anymore. It's over. We're not playing this game. It's I think if you had that happen, again, I can respect what somebody wants to say about themselves. Just live your best life, just as long as you're not harming somebody. When you are a male, I don't care what you call yourself, and walk into a female's change room where there's children and take off your clothes and expect them to look at you and put on a show, that's for attention. That is not because it makes you feel better. You want access. And that's where I draw the line. That's when you're harming people. And got to leave those damn kids alone. I'm a dolphin. Want to hear an annoying squeak? Oh, geez. No, please, no. Please, no. I heard it from Ace Ventura. You should start a women's rugby league. You know what's funny is they were asking people the other day if Floyd Mayweather should be allowed to fight women if he identifies as trans or as a woman. And a lot of women said yes. Could you imagine Floyd Mayweather getting into the boxing ring with a woman? He'd knock their head off. And people would say and cheer that on. Come on. If I was Mike Tyson, I'd be asking to have my record expunged at that point. I'd be saying, okay, I identify as female. That wasn't spousal abuse back in the 90s. I was just in a fight with my partner, and we're both women. Right? I'm using Siri. I'm eating ribs. Hey, Siri, turn the volume up. Floyd would be holding back his punches. Yeah, but okay, Don, I get that. But here's the thing. Floyd Mayweather gets into the ring with a woman. Let's just say Ronda Rousey says, I'll get in the ring with him. And they go toe to toe. She trains for months. She's willing to box him. I guarantee you it would look like one of Tyson's fights from the 90s. he would walk right up, deck her in the mouth. Now she's tough. I've seen Ronda Rousey fight. She is tough. But Floyd Mayweather, getting hit by him must feel like being hit by like a bus, like going 120 miles an hour. Like one shot to the mouth, she'd be down and out. It's there's the comment I was waiting for. He's halfway there. He already sounds familiar. God, you don't have to insult his intelligence. It's good old Tyson. Much respect for Mike Tyson. I've seen him turn his life around, and the way he is now with his. Have you guys seen him with his pigeons? He has this obsession with pigeons, and feeds them Fiji water. He gets criticized because he feeds them Fiji water in all of their cages. And he says, I wouldn't give my birds anything I wouldn't feed myself. So, and funny fact, he actually owned a tiger at one point. A lot of people thought with The Hangover that was a joke. Mike Tyson actually owned a tiger. I believe it was the late 90s or early 2000s. Do they sound like Norm Macdonald? No, only Norm Macdonald can sound like Norm Macdonald. Come on. Maybe Trudeau could only identify as a female and maybe get in a boxing match. Hey, there's a good one for you. I'd like to see Mayweather get in the ring with a woman and Trudeau identify as a woman for that match. God, I would give a kidney to see that. In fact, it's funny. Somebody put out an article on Twitter last week that it was like a joke article that said that a woman who drank semen for several years or something had an IQ of over 400 or something. And somebody had tweeted it out and said, so what's Justin Trudeau's excuse? And I snapped back and said, well, he's not as smart because he's drinking vaccinated semen, but it's yuck. How many people think Trudeau's going to come out as gay with the whole Barbie thing and trying to get votes? Like, I still think his separation is a scam for his wife to launder money through her organization and get away from conflict of interest. But how much do you want to bet he's going to come out as gay or bisexual or something? Like I can almost see it. And it's no joke. I seriously think he may stand to come out that way for the next election to try and seize those votes. He's just pandering. Yeah. I think Justin will. Yeah. Justine. I mean, he doesn't have anything else to bank on now. I mean, you saw now the video we put out about him this week on his trip to Alberta and his $1,000 a head fundraiser, that a lot of it was judges that were just paying to play for the Superior Court and stuff, or Supreme Court, I should say. There was nobody there. Now, I wouldn't expect anybody to really be there in Alberta anyways, but Trudeau's just got nothing now. He's got nothing to bank on. Marty up north, good friend of the channel, he tweeted out tonight that the Liberals, like the next election, if one isn't called, is 2025, which is less than 2 years away at this point. And if the Liberals stand a chance, he says they need to punt Trudeau and have time to get a new leader in. And I said, stop giving them ideas. Like just let them go down in flames, man. Like, it's insane, but it's true. I mean, Trudeau, if he's going to have the narcissism to stick around, I think he's going to have to play the gay card. And again, it's not even a joke. I honestly believe who owns the debt at the Bank of Canada? That's a good question. All of us. They'll reconcile after he gets booted from office. And she has a ton of... Well, CB, you've nailed it on the head, and that's what I've been saying for weeks now, is that this divorce is nothing more than a scam. I mean, he just went on vacation to BC, and again, I question in that video we covered on that, who takes their separated wife on holiday for a luxury time at the beach and gets all these family photos together, and Trudeau was making them all dinner, and everybody says, oh, well, there are families that separate with children that they get along and think, yes, I've seen that, but they just separated officially. they've been separated for years. Okay. In terms of living in different houses and things. And she's running around. I think what they have is an open marriage, to be honest. She's there for the money. We all know that. It's definitely not his looks or his charisma. But I think that's what's going to happen is they'll reconcile as soon as she gets away from conflict of interest. Used his daughter as a prop. He uses anything as a prop. He has no shame. He belongs in jail. Yeah. If he's at the home in the next election, expect lockdowns. As it is, we are foreign interference in China and the West concerned about it a while. Lockdowns are coming, guys. So what's funny was I really panicked about this trip to California that we're taking on Sunday because an article came out. I think it was the New Yorker last week that announced that Hollywood studios had requested that cast and crew start using masks again. That we'd seen Biden talking about asking Congress to invest in new vaccines and all these articles that are starting to gain traction about a new variant. And I'll tell you guys, I thought our trip was going to get delayed, canceled, whatever you want to call it. It'll be interesting to see because California is so liberal. Of course, because of Gavin Newsom, but it'll be interesting when we go this week just to see how many people are wearing masks or how many people buy into the nonsense. Again, I'm going to try to get some footage while I'm down there, not just Disney and fun stuff. I'm going to be taking a look at how things are handling down there because it's California. It's not, Texas or Mississippi or Florida. We're talking California. So be prepared for that. I'll get what I can. But I definitely think lockdowns are on their way back to Canada. I think by mid-October, it's either going to be ramping up heavily or just after Halloween, they're going to shut everything down or at least try to. The question I have is how difficult is it going to be for them to convince everybody this time? Because even my father, who was very for the lockdowns the first time around, he was very paranoid about his health. He was very paranoid about catching COVID. He ended up getting COVID and was fine. I had it twice, according to tests. A couple of days in bed and back to normal. But it'll be interesting to see how many people they can get it to catch fire this time and to get them on board. When you look at the leftist crowds who push for this stuff, it's a very small percentage of people that are really hardcore. Businesses, of course, will be told to comply again. I don't think we're going to see it in Alberta. And I'll tell you why. Danielle Smith has provincial jurisdiction. And she has said already that she believes that the unvaccinated were some of the most discriminated people that she's ever seen in recent history. If she flip-flopped on that, that'd be the end of her career. Now, municipally, it is up to the cities to decide if they're going to lock down or put mandates back in check. But I can tell you right now, Jody Gondek will more than likely put lockdowns in if she's given the choice. She likes any reason to bar everybody up in their homes. She loves Justin Trudeau. So Calgary may see lockdowns. Small towns, I don't think will. In which case, hey, retailers in small towns are going to make a killing of people who don't want to deal with the city politics. I know there's a few small towns that border Calgary that if lockdowns come into Calgary, I'll just go shopping in those towns. But I don't think you're going to have an easy of a time convincing the public this time to stay indoors. You see people saying don't comply, but I really think that's going to be the attitude going forward because there have been studies since the COOF that have shown that everything they touted wasn't necessarily fact. We've had Alberta Supreme Court rule this week that they're throwing out and dismissing all COVID-related charges, and that they may even end up having to reimburse people who paid fines. I'll have a story about that this week as well. It's going to be interesting. Interesting to see what's going on. Night Me, I want my blue wrench. Snatch. Listen, man, you're a friend. I consider you a friend. But I sometimes question your motive. You have told me on many occasions, do not make me a mod. I will ruin your channel. Listen, we'll talk off camera. If you're serious, you talk to me. I will happily give you that wrench. But I need some kind of contingency that things are going to be run in a fair manner. 2024 election predictions. No election due to lockdown. Election is rigged. Trudeau steps down and replaced. Election rigged either way. It'll be interesting to see. I know a lot of people have said the same thing. Just a dildo. I am people too. You're people kind. Life is a scam. He won't, because internally it won't work in his favor. It's if they close the border during my trip to Florida in November, I'm heading to Ottawa with a horn blowing. And that, Xylo, I sure hope they don't, because it's hard. I know. See, like, again, I get a lot of criticism. I've had people unsub this week because I mentioned where I was taking my kids on vacation, and I don't care. I don't care. I sat my kids down and said, pick somewhere, and that they begged. You know, they lost 2 years, 2.5 years. People, we've talked about it before. I'm so happy that we're just getting on a plane and going somewhere. That it can feel normal for 5 minutes again, and for anybody who's got a vacation plan after that, I sure hope that it works out. I hope that that does not happen. But don't go canceling until the last second if it does, because like I said, I don't think if it does happen, it's going to stay for very long. There's two things that are going to prevent this from moving forward. I don't think the fear factor is there that was there 2 years ago. It's not present. I don't see a lot of people buying into it. The economy is also in the shitter. And it's a direct result of these lockdowns. And if the government, now they can talk about new health measures, they can talk about new procedures that they want people to get. But when it comes to closing borders and lockdowns, I don't think the United States can force or can afford to shut down the Canadian border again. Because their economy's starting to have problems, big problems. Canada certainly can't afford for the US border to shut down. Canada can't afford to shut anything down right now. So it's going to be interesting. And go to Disney in Orlando. No, here's the thing. Disneyland is smaller. I have younger kids, and I'm not really spending very much at Disney because my mother-in-law booted for the cost, because I have my stance on Disney. I paid for Universal. I've paid for the rental car. I've paid for other things on this trip. Now, there are things at Disney I like. I am a fan of Star Wars. I'm a fan of the trilogy, the original trilogy. As far as I'm concerned, Star Wars is 3 movies. I'm a little lenient on the prequels now, but I will never accept the last 3 movies. I love my Star Wars. So yeah, I am going to go partake in the Star Wars while I'm in Disney. I'm a big fan of comics and Marvel. So yeah, I'm going to partake a little bit in Marvel, but I wouldn't support Florida Disney because they're the ones that are giving DeSantis all the pushback anyways. It's, yeah, Timo's hitting it on the head. Disneyland is better than Florida. And I've seen people who actually have season passes for Disney on YouTube that have been to both frequently and always say Disneyland's way better than Disney World. Canada can afford to shut blackface down. Yeah. I bought a ticket for the Peter Gabriel tour in Montreal. Been praying for the pass of disgrace. Been praying that the pass of disgrace will not come back, since the ticket is no more than my rent. I've got concert tickets in November as well that I hope don't fall through. But hey, if they do, that's, I mean, I was taking my whole family to a concert, so that'll be $600 coming back my way if that's the case. But either way, why can't they make a decent Iron Fist? Well, here's the, God, if we really want to get into comics on this stream, I don't know. I am a massive comic nerd, and I'm telling you, I'll just sum it up very quick. The reason they can't is because the Iron Fist, while he's a great character, he's better in a team up. He's better in a multiple character setting like the Defenders. I don't think that Danny Rand is an interesting enough character to make a movie. I'm sorry, it happened with Ghost Rider, even though Nick Cage was subpar in those movies. It's happened with a lot of Marvel properties. You need the team ups and you need something interesting. And honestly, I think there's a lot of fatigue. I think that by the time they made the Defenders, there was a lot of fatigue setting in Marvel shows, or in superheroes in general. I don't know what the future is going to be for Marvel, especially with the whole woke stuff and the woman Avengers. I think superhero fatigue is set in, and I think the movies are. Iron Fist was my boyfriend in college. Concert tickets are completely outrageous. Hopefully they're actually performing and not acting. Yeah. I love the Marvel Park at Universal Islands and Adventure when I went 2001. I'm looking forward to, they have a Guardians of the Galaxy ride. Now, when I went to Disneyland the first time in my life, it was when I was 26, when I got married. My wife and I went there for our honeymoon because we'd never been. And we're not beach people or anything, and we wanted to see Hollywood. So we did Disney for a couple of days. And at that time, it was the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, essentially like a drop of fear or whatever. The Guardians of the Galaxy ride is essentially that you go up and down different floors in this like elevator. And they've got the cast and acting on every floor. I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. I know Snatch makes his jokes in here, but I'm really looking forward to picking up some movie quality lightsabers while I'm in Disney. I'm still trying to debate which ones I want to get. But I think I'm going to pick up a Luke Skywalker and a Darth Vader because I'm getting two. They also have Yoda's lightsaber, which the hilt is a little smaller because he's Yoda. And my wife thinks it's too adorable to pass up. So I may have to settle on a Yoda. I don't know, instead of Luke. But I'd like to get a Luke and a Darth Vader for my walls to go next to my new Star Wars arcade. But we'll have to see. Xylo saying, make your own. You know what? We were going to do that. I came in last week and asked people's opinion on that. And the only reason I'm not going to make my own lightsaber is because they only let you pick from 4 different models. And when I first saw make your own lightsaber, I thought you could mix and match pieces from all 4 models and kind of build your own unique lightsaber. You can't. You can only pick 2 different pieces on each set for each individual part, meaning that every 16 lightsabers for that build, you're probably going to have the same as somebody else. The designs I'm not overly crazy about. So as much as I wanted to build my own, they have a sale right now going on with the hilts at Disney as well. So the movie replica hilts that are essentially like top of the line lightsabers, they're all on sale for 30% off. So I can buy 2 essentially for the same price as building 1 lightsaber. My kids are planning to build droids when we go there, so I'm not really losing out on the building aspect all that much. And they're not losing out on that experience at that point either. So I think I'm just going to pick up some movie ones to put and mount on the wall. That'll be fun. Gonna dual wield those lightsabers? I don't know. If you guys have ever seen the Jedi Survivor video game, the Cal Kestis lightsaber is one that I wanted to get my hands on that they do have, which you can dual wield. You can make it a double-sided like Darth Maul's, or you can have it as a single. The only problem with the Cal Kestis saber is it's very expensive. And I don't believe it's a part of their hilt sale, but they do have Darth Vader. They do have Yoda. They've got Qui-Gon. They've got Luke's. They've got Ahsoka Tano's. They've got a whole whack of them to choose from. And that's what's going to make it very difficult, is having to pick 2 that I really want to just bring home and put on the wall down here with everything. It's going to be fun. You can buy extra parts to customize it, but that was the problem, Xylo, with this build, was that by the time you pay to build the saber and buy the extra parts, that's where I looked at my wife and said, I can buy 2 movie accurate lightsabers that are great for what I do in my basement is collectibles. I've got a ton of movie props. I said it on last week's stream. I've got a hoverboard from Back to the Future. I've got the blow drying jacket and the rainbow hat from Back to the Future. I've got a signed sports almanac. I got signed by everybody in the cast at Comic-Con. Like, I collect a lot of movie memorabilia. So for me to get Star Wars hilts, it adds to what I already do. The problem I had is that by the time you buy extra crystals that change the colors of your lightsabers, or those extra scrap parts that are $40, $50 a piece, I could easily buy a couple of movie ones and actually spend less. It's that 30% off sale that's just made it much more feasible to go that route, because less is more at that point, if that makes sense. I agree, and I really wanted to build when I was there, but it's that 30% off that's dragging me. If you do plan to buy a pre-made movie one, Count Dooku is the only real option. Yeah, I like that one too. I really like Christopher Lee, and I like that character. And see, now I'm going to be thinking about that one. So it's going to be tough. I'll have to see what they have. A lot of them too are starting to sell out because of the 30%. So I'll have to see what's available. Who knows? Maybe I will end up building one if nothing's available. The bong sabers from Jay and Silent Bob, I wish they sold those. I would love to get my hands on one of those. The cock knocker fists and the bong lightsaber. That'd be awesome. That would be awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting into nerd territory and we're really dragging the stream along. So I'm going to wrap it at that point, because I do have to get content again ready for next week while I'm gone. Again, just a friendly reminder, that content may not be hard-hitting, frequently dropping news, again, because I'm in the United States. A friendly reminder too, there will be no stream on Sunday because of the long weekend. Monday, there will be no video as well. Again, people are gone for the Labor Day weekend. So long weekends, I tend not to drop a video on the Monday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll have new content for you next week. And then on the 10th, we'll come back. So that'll be a week this Sunday. We'll come back and do a live stream, and it'll be business as usual. I hope you guys enjoy your week. Stay safe. Again, head over, sub to Clyde if you haven't. Celtic Canuck, again, another great channel. Sub to them. Clyde's got some really cool merch that came out lately. Go pick up some merch from Clyde. People have been bugging him for ages to get merch. Go pick up some merch from Clyde. Dude's got some really cool stuff. I was really hoping mine would have arrived before I was leaving for California, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it will. But man, I'm excited to get some of that stuff on my hands. So yeah, take it easy, guys. Enjoy the content. Again, thank you so much to everybody who's joined our channel recently, who's joined our small fringe minority, everybody who hung out in the live stream. And big shout out again to Eat Me for the super chat. Thank you so much for that. I guess I'll catch you guys in a week and a half. Enjoy yourselves, guys. Stay safe. I'll catch you on the next one.